आबू का तीरथ तुमको पुकारे, आ जाओ ब्रह्मा बाबा हमारे, आना ही होगा। मधुबन तुम्हारी बाट निहारे, आ जाओ ब्रह्मा बाबा हमारे, आना ही होगा। आबू का तीरथ तुमको पुकारे, आ जाओ ब्रह्मा बाबा हमारे, आना ही होगा, आना ही होगा, आना ही होगा। चारों तरफ आज दुख की घड़ी है, आओ तुम्हारी जरूरत पड़ी है। चारों तरफ आज दुख की घड़ी है, आओ तुम्हारी जरूरत पड़ी है। दुनिया की नौका, दुनिया की नौका लगा दो किनारे, आ जाओ ब्रह्मा बाबा हमारे, आना ही होगा, आना ही होगा, आना ही होगा। बेचैन है आज धरती के वासी, घर घर है चिंता, घर घर उदासी। बेचैन है आज धरती के वासी, घर घर है चिंता, घर घर उदासी। बरसा दो खुशियाँ, बरसा दो खुशियाँ दुआरे दुआरे, आ जाओ ब्रह्मा बाबा हमारे, आना ही होगा, आना ही होगा, आना ही होगा। करता प्रतीक्षा संसार सारा, स्वीकारो बाबा निमंत्रण हमारा। करता प्रतीक्षा संसार।
Om Shanti, everyone. Om Shanti, Sister Jayanti.
Om Shanti Aruna, and to everyone.
So the thing is that there is a little bit of a technical issue regarding translation. So I suggest if you could just be a little patient and Srimat is trying to deal with it. So yeah, I think one by one the hands are going down. So yes, everyone, welcome to another great edition with Sister Jayanti. So gentlemen, I'm just going to share a very short story about Dadi Gulzar, and it's in relation to Baba's Murli on Sunday, whereby some Mataji, some mother, went to meet Dadi Gulzar, and she started saying, Dadi, my husband gives me so much sorrow, he gives me so much agony, so much pain. And she went on and on. And so Dadi Gulzar said, oh, really, really? He gives you so much. But who is the one who takes it? And just in those simple words, the mother had a wake-up call and thought, yeah, I'm the one that's taking it. So very simple. As we know, Dadi was so simple in all her messages. So yeah, just a request. I'm trying also to speak slowly. So a request to speak slowly for the translators. Thank you.
Om Shanti to everyone. And yes, Baba's Murli was one of huge, huge love. Baba calling us as royal, beloved children. Baba looking at each one with deep, deep love. Baba coming specially from far away to meet his beloved royal children. And this time, Baba spoke about being the double sovereigns. Here you have sovereignty over your physical and your inner abilities. And in Satyuga and Treta, then you will have the sovereignty of the world. But both are very deeply connected. Because Baba, next question from Baba was, do you experience the sovereignty of the self? Are you able to be the sovereign of your own mind? Or is it that sometimes you are and sometimes you're not? Sometimes you are the master of the mind and sometimes the mind takes over and rules you. And if that's the case, then you can't be a sovereign. A sovereign means to be a sovereign for a lifetime, forever, not just one day yes, one day no. And so Baba was saying, look at your own future in terms of what you see in yourself today. If you're the sovereign of all your faculties today, then yes, you know that you'll have the right for sovereignty right from the beginning of the Golden Age. And if today you lose that sovereignty for time to time and it disappears, then of course you don't have the right to be able to come from the very beginning and be with Baba and experience that sovereignty for all time. And so look at your account. To what extent is one connected with the other? Of course, then you'll be able to see what your future is. But the way Baba is seeing us is as the double sovereigns. I was remembering also that Dadi Janki once told us that when she was about 10 or 11, she only went to school for 3 years, as you know. And at that time, arithmetic was her subject. There were some subjects she liked and arithmetic she did like, some she didn't like. But in arithmetic, she actually got 100 marks. Everything was 100% correct. But because a teacher felt, well, I can't just let her pass with 100 marks, they brought her down to 99. But why she used to share the story is because she was very, very good at understanding accounts, not just karmic accounts, but financial accounts also. She had a very sharp eye for accounts and calculations. And so she always kept this calculation in mind, that if today I'm the ruler, then tomorrow I'll be the ruler also for all time. And if not today, then who knows what the future holds and what will I be tomorrow. So Baba spoke about being the double sovereigns, and in particular, being the sovereigns of our own minds. And then Baba spoke about love again, and how when there is love for somebody, you want to do whatever it is the loved one loves. And also, if you want to be with somebody all the time, then there has to be some type of equality. And so, what is your state of equality in your thoughts, your words, your actions, your drishti, your attitude, your behavior? Is there that level of purity at all times to be able to be not just number wise, but number one, like the Father? Then, yes, you can be with the Father through the whole period of the cycle from the very beginning. Otherwise, you come second birth, third birth, who knows? But the purity Baba spoke about a great deal. Just remember how pure you are and how pure you have to be again. And so emerge that scene of Paramdham. There'll be all the souls of the world there in Paramdham with God, but there'll be some souls who are very, very close to the Father. And the purity of those souls will shine very brightly, the ones who are closest to the Father. Others, number-wise, of course, number-wise purity. But the purity of those special souls close to the Father will be one in which there's a wonderful sparkle. And then think about the purity of the Golden Age and how the personality of purity will shine, and not just of you and your behavior, but of everything around you. And so the purity of the birds, the flowers, the animals, everything. It was a beautiful description of the Golden Age, how the purity of everything is so beautiful. It is their personality also. So can you imagine what it must be like? And of course, today we only catch a glimpse of that purity when we see Baba in front of us, we see the Dadis in front of us, but Baba wants us to achieve that same stage. And then think about the purity of the Copper Age. They will, maybe your statue will be 4 feet or 5 feet, but the temple they will build for you is huge. And it will again be because of the power of your personality of purity. And from the Copper Age onwards, there will have come many kings, many leaders, many politicians, religious fathers, all of them will have come and played their role. All the actors will have come on the world drama stage and done what they needed to do. But the purity that you have is incomparable. They won't have that same quality of purity as you souls. And one of the factors about this is that even today, when they build statues and memorials to even kings and others, how do they build them? They build them out in the open, and then the birds can come and sit on them. They're exposed to the sun, the rain, the storms, everything, the dust. But for you, they will build beautiful temples. And so this is the purity that you have to attain right now. And this is the purity that will be worshipped later on. And Baba had a special connection with the double foreigners, and of course, Baba still does. And Baba said Baba has special love for the double foreigners. And I was just reflecting on this and thinking how when they would go out for meditation in the mountains in Abu, this would have been 50, 51, around that time. And at that time, at one point, Baba was giving drishti, and people said to him afterwards, Baba, where were you? And Baba looked at them and said, well, it's not just you who are my children. Baba's remembering the children who are far, far away and have yet to come to Baba. And so Baba was remembering the double foreigners. And I was also remembering that many of Baba's world instruments were born in the early 1950s. And of course, many others since then also, but especially many born at that time, in that period when Baba was invoking all the double foreigners. And so you can think about why is it that Baba singles out the double foreigners for sharing this huge amount of love. Bharatvasis, so many of them, but Baba especially talking about his love for the double foreigners. And I think it's because Baba has said often that, well, you've had to cross many, many hurdles that people from Bharat did not need to. And then further, you are the ones who have been instruments to share God's message with the world. So truly, God is remembered as the world benefactor, not just Bharat benefactor. So Baba didn't go into the detail of this at this moment, but just that he has very special love for the double foreigners, and he wants all of them to be with him when he comes into his first birth, so that then we go through the cycle together. And I know that Baba gave this blessing to Dadi Janki, but in this Murli, that we will be together with Baba through the whole cycle. And it's a very powerful, comforting thought to know that I'm with Baba now, and Baba's remembering me today, but Baba will also be with me. Shiv Baba will be in Paramdham, but Brahma Baba will be with me through the whole cycle. And so when you know that there's a father or a grandfather who's going to care for you, then as a child, you feel very comforted by that thought. So when I was reading that, I felt it's a beautiful guarantee from Baba. Yes, now we have God's teachings, now we have God's sustenance, we have God's blessings and Srimad. But apart from all of that, we're getting all these guarantees of what Baba is assuring us of. And so a special invitation from Baba to be number one, not number wise, not to think that, well, I can't be in the 8 anyway, or maybe I can be in the 108, but maybe I can be part of the last rosary of the last bit of the rosary of 108. No, Baba's saying, be number one, not number wise. And so this is the expression of God's love for us, wanting to uplift us and elevate us. But we have to keep that high consciousness with ourselves at all times, so that truly I am the master of my mind. And of course, Baba was also very amused at something. Baba said that Baba, out of love, switches on to see what's happening in which part of the world, in Bharat, outside Bharat, and then he sees all the children and all the things that they're doing. And sometimes he sees things that amuse him greatly. And in this particular case, Baba was seeing how, on the one side, we say that we are God's children, and on the other side, what we do is say, but, well, what can I do about this? This is my sanskar. Well, hold on a minute. Who are you? You are God's child. You are a soul. So what are your original sanskars? Surely your original sanskars are the sanskars of God, not anyone else. And so emerge that awareness and feel God's sanskars within you. And yes, sometimes a little bit of dust gets blown around here and there. And so sometimes there's a little bit of influence of Ravan, but just brush it away. It's a cartoon game. It's not here to stay. And when you do that, then you don't get affected by it. Otherwise, you take it on board and it affects you, and then you say, this is my sanskar. No, it's not your sanskar. Your sanskars as a child of God are those original, pure, powerful, beautiful sanskars. So don't be deceived by this thought that, well, never mind, this is my sanskar, and what can I do about it? No, you have to deal with it and remember that your sanskars are the ones that reflect the divine. And then Baba used another expression. Well, not just my sanskars, but my nature. And in Hindi, the word is swabhav. Swa, the self, and bhav, intention. And bhavna is feeling, so the two words are very close. But bhav is really my intention. And so, as a soul, in my original state of being, what are my intentions? My intentions are the highest, the purest, the most elevated. I want to serve all, help all, uplift all. And so I can never make that my excuse. So Baba said, catch your language. Just bring about a change in that language of what it is you are calling my and mine, because it isn't yours at all. And the other thing Baba was reminding us was charity begins at home. It's a beautiful expression, and it comes in the Sakar Murli as well as in the Avyakt Murli. And in this particular case, Baba was saying, what is your vision of the other? Are you able to see the other as a soul, your brother? Or are you able to see that soul in the angelic form? They're not yet angels, but see them in that way. And that will help them become angelic. Like when Baba looks at us, Baba sees us as angels. We're not there yet. But the fact that Baba's vision has fallen on us and is seeing us in that way is very uplifting for us. So we have to do that favor to others also. See them with that vision. Even if their behavior isn't like an angel, even if their behavior is not very nice, but if you see them with that vision that they're not nice or that they're bad or whatever, you're pulling them down. Or even Baba said, they're already down, that's why they're behaving badly. And so how can you kick somebody who's lying on the ground? You can't do that. But what you can do is uplift them. And so remember that their original awareness also is that of soul. Their original stage also was that of the angel. They too have been selected by God to be part of his gathering, his family. Out of multi-millions, a handful belong to God. And this one has been selected to be part of the gathering of God, who is taking God's sustenance and God's teachings. And so my vision has to be one that uplifts them, not one that causes sorrow. If I cause sorrow, I'm going to feel sorrow also. And so the give and take of sorrow is going to bring me down. But if I give happiness and love, that comes back to me and it creates in me that sanskar of being able to stay happy and loving and continue to give happiness and love. Again, with respect. If I give respect, my own awareness of my own inner state of being, of self-respect, is going to be strengthened. And so let me stay in my seat of self-respect. Baba says, why do you leave your seat and go wandering around here and there? Stay on your seat. And when you stay on your seat of dignity and respect, then you can give respect to others. And of course, it then comes back to you further and multiplies. And so very, very practical lessons of what our behavior should be with each other. To be able to give respect to each one all the time, all the time. And with that, yes, we can become number one and be close to Baba, like the Father. The things that the Father has done, we have to do for others also. Whatever we've taken from Baba, to be able to give the return of that. And then it's really from October, I think, the start of the double foreigner season at that time. Usually that's what used to happen. And Baba's again talking about being able to stay content and give contentment to others. The Hindi word is jewel of contentment, not just being content, but be the jewel of contentment. And the word jewel is actually a feminine word, mani. And so Baba said that brothers are also the jewels, not that you change the gender when you're talking about the male jewel or the female jewel, but the brothers are also jewels. But can you stay content yourself and always give contentment to others through the whole year, not just for the 6 months of the season, but of course, what it means is that if I practice something deeply, then that's going to stay with me. If I practice for 6 months, it'll become my sanskar. In fact, less than 6 months. I think if you really seriously practice something for 21 days, it begins to be a sanskar. And then, yes, water it with attention. And so it'll continue to become stronger and deeper and stay with you further. And so not just 6 months, but for the whole year until the following season. And so Baba gave us this homework to be the jewel of contentment and give contentment to all others at all times. And so a Murli in which Baba was giving us a lot of love, reminding us that even at the very end of the Iron Age, when there is love, a person is ready to sacrifice life for the sake of love. And so can you, children, not sacrifice all your weaknesses and bring about change because of your love for Baba? So emerge that love, not just for incorporeal God Shiva, but also for Brahma Baba. And my experience of the month of January, especially, is that it's very easy to feel Brahma Baba's love surrounding you, carrying you, and lifting you to your own higher stage. So enjoy each moment, especially of the month of January, whether it's classes or discussions or churnings or bhattis, whatever it may be. But keep filling yourself more and more with that experience of Baba's love. Okay? You're on mute. You have to unmute or they'll unmute. They have to do it.
Right. Thank you, Sister Jayanti. You amaze me every time. I wonder, like, why do I not have such a memory like you do? Do you have some kind of a photographic memory? Is that what it? Because you just seem to effortlessly go through the whole Murli.
It is something like that, you know, I can visualize it. And so I suppose that's what they call photographic memory. But yes, I can visualize it and go through it.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much. Just to say, yeah, we've got some technical help. They're still trying to sort out the translation. So again, apologies, it's drama. I think something's happening at the top. Anyway, we'll let that continue. Those who can listen can listen. So yeah, you ended with the whole thing of Swabhav and all that. So Jayanti, could you elaborate more on this this point where Baba said point merged in the eye? Anyway, yeah, let's start with that.
Baba spoke about how the pupil of the eye is just a point anyway, but always keep the vision of the other, the point, also merged in your eye, so that when I see you, then I don't see male, female, white, brown, black, any of those things. My vision is focused on the soul, the vision of brotherhood. And so if I see always that point and that's merged in my vision, then I'm going to be able to have that love and respect for each one. Then there's no divisions and conflict.
Yeah, lovely. And in between, gentlemen, you were mentioning about coming with Brahma Baba. And so actually, this is something I've been wanting to ask you for a long time. So there was a Brahmin many, many, many years ago whose personal blessing from Baba was that you are a soul who will go up with Brahma and come down with Brahma. But, gentlemen, that soul left Baba, but is still in touch, is still in contact. So it has good feelings, but how does that work? Was it that Baba was just inspiring that soul? What was going on? I don't quite get it.
I see how Baba has given blessings to many, many of us personally, individually. And what Baba sometimes says is that this child has used Baba's blessings in their life. And so those blessings have become real. So if I recall what Baba has said to me every morning, and I water that with that awareness of love, that this is how Baba sees me, then I become that. That's the transformation I go through. But Baba has said something beautiful, seeing the potential that I could be that, but I don't keep it in my awareness. I get into all sorts of other alleyways and byways instead of staying on the highway. And because of this, my energy gets distracted, and so my energy drops, and what I could have done, I don't achieve. And so Baba's definitely seeing the potential. Like Baba said, Baba always sees the angel in each one of us. But I have to remember that this is who I am and make it happen. And so Baba gives a blessing, but that's a seed. My job is to water it and make it grow and become real in my life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. But then would we say that blessing has gone to waste?
Um,
Or what is this karmic account with God?
Baba gives blessings of love, and so for Baba, nothing goes to waste. Who knows at what time that soul will wake up and maybe do amazing things for themselves and for others.
Okay. So yeah, I hope everybody heard that. We have to daily water our blessings. Can we go back to the royalty of purity, and in particular, I think more or less vision and thoughts and words. But gentlemen, let's come to behavior, purity in behavior. Now that's a big subject. And okay, one is the whole aspect of lust, but what are other subtle purities in our behavior that we could apply to again help us progress?
When I interact with you, am I being sweet with you because I want something from you? Or am I being sweet because I'm Baba's child and you're Baba's child also? Am I able to treat you with respect, recognizing you as Baba's special child? So that sweetness of tone, that appreciation of who you are, that respect for you, being inclusive. So I don't say that, well, these are my friends and these are not my friends, but can I have such respect for the Brahmin family that everybody is my friend and I'm able to be close to them and appreciate what it is they do and who they are. So these would be some of the ways in which we express that purity. And we saw that with the daddies. You know, I remember so often we'd be in daddy's room and somebody would come. They they weren't part of that particular group, but they would come to the door and daddy would say, come, 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 come. She never said to anybody, oh, no, don't come in. This is a special group. And, you know, sometimes people would feel, but how come daddy's being so liberal and telling everyone to come in? But here they are, they've come to the door, that Daddy's not going to send them away. Daddy say, come, come, come. It's their fortune. And so can I be open-hearted and generous and liberal? And this is also part of that openness and transparency and purity.
That's
Again, purity and honesty with each other, transparency. If I have good thoughts about somebody, I'm happy for them to know what my thoughts are. So why should I have any other type of thoughts about somebody that I hide? And of course, finally, I can't really hide it. It then comes out in something or another in my behavior towards them. And so to have nothing but good wishes for each one, and just to have those pure thoughts for everyone, that's also definitely part of purity.
Yes, so I noticed last week and this morning as well, while you were here at GRC, there's been this lot of discussion about, should we talk to somebody about their shortcomings or not? So in a sense, gentlemen, what is the fine line between having to face and having to bow?
I think the most important thing is developing a good relationship with each one. If I have a good relationship with the other, then they can sit down with me comfortably and I can share with them. Maybe this shouldn't have been like this. Maybe it should have been like this. But if I don't have a good relationship with them, how can I do anything? I can say what I want to say, but they are unlikely to listen. But if they trust me and there's been a good relationship that's been built up, then I think we can be open with each other, we can tell each other, and know that there's no other motive in the heart except really benefit for them. Where they feel that I'm speaking out of ego, or I'm speaking out of jealousy, or I'm wanting to create some conflict, then of course they'll be very defensive, very resistant. But if through a period of time they've understood that I have good wishes for them and nothing else in my heart against them, then there comes a moment when I'll be able to speak to them very openly.
So that is not kicking then. I mean, a kicking is when you have ill feeling or the intention is wrong, right? That's the definition of kicking somebody. Otherwise, it's really
kicking,
just out of love that you're sharing.
the kicking is my anger, my bad feeling about what has just happened. And so then I'm harsh, then I'm angry, then I say this is unjust, my language is not right. And so that's the kick. And so to not allow any of those negative reactions to come. They said something, they've done something which I feel is wrong. But if I hit back at it, that's the kick. But that's my anger. That's my lack of compassion, my lack of charity. And so here's Baba telling me, you're a charitable soul. Charity begins at home with those who are close to you. And so can you at this moment just simply accept and support and give love and cooperation? And then through that, develop a relationship. And at some time, at some point, you can speak to them.
Okay, so this person has, let's say, hurt somebody. Okay, this person has said something, it's hurt somebody. Now you're asking that person who's hurt to be the compassionate one, to have the big heart, right? That's what you're saying.
This is what Baba's saying.
Yeah, not always easy, because as you know, we know hurt people hurt people. But yeah, I guess there's no other way, right?
Right.
So Gentiben, okay, so let's take this a bit further. So if we only say mine to our original sanskars, as Baba has asked us to, and not to the old ones, then how do we ensure there is no denial of what I have become?
Baba's asking me to look at it a little bit differently. Baba's saying, stay in that original state of consciousness of who you truly are, and know that this is a little bit of dust that's come in between, and now I have to remove that dust, but let me maintain that inner self-respect, self-esteem of how Baba sees me as a child of God. And so, yes, this dust has come, and I'm covered with that dust, but that's not who I am. I can wash away that dust with God's love and with attention. And also, I'm going to make sure that that dust doesn't stay, that it doesn't manifest again. I'm going to use my own original sanskars of being a child of God. Daddy used to say to us, if you don't use your original sanskars, your old sanskars are going to use you. Do you remember?
Yes.
So, am I the one in charge, the sovereign, using my original sanskars? Or is it that I've forgotten? I'm not stable on the seat. And so the other sanskars are coming. And I'm saying, well, what can I do? These are also my sanskars. Baba's saying, no, don't acknowledge that they are your sanskars. This is the dust. And what you have to do is remove that dust with the water of knowledge, with the water of God's love.
Thank you, gentlemen. So, gentlemen, I thought this morning, when you were asked the question, how are you so convinced that Brahma Baba hasn't taken birth yet? It was amazing. So could we have you say that again, and it's recorded, and another group gets to hear it? Because yes, many people wonder, has Brahma Baba taken birth or not, especially after Dadi Gulzar stopped invoking. Yeah, Baba.
Looking at it from the perspective of the Sakar Murlis, and for me, the Sakar Murlis are the Bible, the Gita. Baba talks about the Gita, and that's a Sakar Murli. So any reference goes back to that. And you'll find many, many references in which Baba says, Brahma Baba is waiting to take you back home with himself. And of course, we've also heard that Brahma Baba is now asking the question, how much longer, how much longer? And that's come in the Avyakt Murlis. But Baba's always said in the Sakar Murlis, Baba will wait for you to go back home, and you'll go back home together, and then the soul of Krishna comes down, but also those who are part of the kingdom of Krishna come down with him. And we're still here. The Kali Yugi world is still very much here. So Baba's not gone home yet. Baba's waiting for us still. In Bhakti, they have this memorial that when Krishna was born, light entered the world. It was a world of darkness, and then suddenly light came. And so the light has come to the soul, but light hasn't come to the world yet. And who are the parents who have such power of purity to be able to give birth to a child like Krishna? And Baba often speaks about the fact that not even the shadow of the deities can touch the world of Kali Yuga. And so definitely Sri Krishna isn't going to come in a world which is physically polluted, spiritually polluted, emotionally polluted, the way it is today. And only when everything finishes, all the impurities have been dealt with, then Sri Krishna will take birth. And again, Bhakti remembers that after the annihilation, there was a big flood, and on the waters of that flood, there was a pipal leaf, and Krishna comes floating on that pipal leaf, and the new world begins. And so there's no way that Krishna could take birth now, and even when it's been prophet souls, whenever they've taken birth, there's always been some significant happening, in the sense that, when Christ was born, then at that time, the wise men come, the kings come, the shepherds see the light, the angels come. So there's always different things that happen when special souls take birth. Krishna taking birth in Kali Yuga just can't make sense to me. Not possible.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that was amazing and comforting, actually. So, Jainben, let's move over to now Brahma Baba. It's the month of Brahma Baba, Abhyakt month. And I'd like to know if you can remember the first time you heard that Baba is no more. So do you remember where you were? Do you remember the first thought you had in your head? Could you share that moment with us?
I was in Agra. Baba had sent me with Didi Manmoini, and I'd got settled there, and I'd been to Madhuban again in December, and this was now 2 a.m. in the morning of the 19th of January. And the sisters, a few of us were in the same room, and we heard a knock on the door, and the light came on, and it was Mahendra Bhai, who was the main brother there, who had come to tell us that he received a phone call, and he didn't know how true or untrue it was, but it seemed as if Baba had left. And at that moment, we just got ready and then went and sat in meditation. And he, meanwhile, was trying to connect up somewhere. But, in those days, Abu didn't even have normal telephone lines. They were landlines. And sometimes the landlines were working, sometimes they weren't. So he couldn't get through to Abu at all. And then other places, Delhi, he wasn't getting through. He was trying Bombay, the big main centers. So 2 o'clock, I'm sitting in front of Baba in meditation. And I think I've always taken drishti through Brahma Baba's eyes. And that's connected me with Shiv Baba, because that had been my personal experience, that Baba's drishti had connected me with God. And I thought to myself, how am I going to have yoga now? And the next thought came that Shiv Baba had said, this is Rudra Gyan Yagya, the sacrificial fire of knowledge of Shiva, Rudra. It's not Brahma Baba's yagya, it's Shiv Baba's yagya. And in the Murlis, Baba had also told us, whether Brahma is here or not here, the work of Shiv, the Rudra Gyan Yagya is going to be completed and has to be completed. And so I stabilized myself, just fixing my gaze then on Brahma Baba's forehead, just connecting with Shiv Baba and reminding myself that my surrender had been to Shiv Baba. So we were up through the night for Amrit Vela, and then quickly got ready for class. It was Sunday. There was going to be a big class. And so when the class students came, again, it was just more yoga. And Mahendra Bhai and Vimla Bhen, the sister in charge, told the class that this is the news that has come. And everybody just accepted the news and sat in yoga. And 8 o'clock, the two of them came to me and said, Mahendra Bhai and Vimla Ben, we're going to Abu. We don't know what's happening. We have to go and find out for ourselves. But if you and Jyoti want to come with us, you can come. And Jyoti, who's now in London, came with me. And we both of us instantly said yes, of course. And so there was a train just in an hour's time. And off we went, and we traveled on the train, and the Agra train connected with the Delhi train. And we'd just been silent. And then they were speaking together, senior teachers, and somebody was saying, what's going to happen now is, are we going to make another journey to Abu? Maybe this is our last journey to Abu. We used to go to meet Brahma Baba. Now he's not there. What's going to be? So I heard all this, but I wasn't thinking those thoughts. I was too new. I'd only been living at a center for a few months. And those thoughts, those points didn't make any sense to me. I didn't want to hear them. So I just continued with my silence. Monday morning, we arrive in Abu, and at that time, it's sunrise. And it was the first time I'd gone to Abu at that hour. Normally, I would arrive in Abu in the afternoon from Bombay. Now I was coming from the north. And so it was a very beautiful scene. It was almost surreal. Going up the mountain as the sun was rising, and it looked so beautiful. And on the one side, seeing that beauty, and on the other side, thinking, what am I going to find? And I had a question in my mind. I'd never seen a body without a soul. I was just 19, and I'd never witnessed anything like that. So I also had a question, how would I deal with that? But we arrived in Pandavavan, and they said we could go immediately into the history hall, which is where Baba was laid, or we could go and shower and then come. So I think we first went straight into the hall and then went to get ready, etc. And Baba's face was so beautiful. It was as if Baba was just resting, and red roses had come from Jaipur immediately. So the whole casket was filled with red roses, and Baba's face was as beautiful as a rose. No sign of any suffering or anything at all. And the purity, of course, the power of purity had cleansed the body. And so no change of color on anything, just beautiful. And people already, several hundred had arrived. And we went to the building, which is now the training center, and it was only half built. Only the ground floor has been built, so it was still a building site. But if suddenly 700 people arrive, that was the number that came, what could you do? And so again, we went there, and within the Indian tradition, if you have, until you have the cremation, the family doesn't cook. And in India, they would fast. Here we try and see, because it's not just 1 day, 2 days, it can be a week before you get a date for the funeral. But in India, you don't cook anything, and that's it. So there was milk and tea and water available, but whoever needed, wanted, would get there, but nothing else. So everybody was totally free just to do tapasya. And so we were all in tapasya, and through the whole of Monday night, then Tuesday morning, the 21st, then at that time, Dadiji came on the gadi, and she met us the day before, but totally calm, absolutely calm. And then on the 21st, 7 o'clock in the morning, Daddy came and sat on the gadi. And what she said was, Baba has sent a message, and her voice broke. And it gave like permission. And everybody, you could feel the tension, and there were tears. But Daddy quickly pulled herself together, and the tears stopped, and she went on that the message is that we have to do the cremation today, and the cremation has to be on sacred ground. And so the cremation will take place in the tennis court, the space where there's now the tower. And Baba had also said, decorate a carriage so that then whoever wants to see Baba's face can see Baba for the last time. So it was very dramatic, because we'd all offered flowers and so on. The body was ready, and they were just about to lift the body onto the carriage. And that's when Didi Manmoini and Dadi Nirmashanta arrived. No mobile phones in those days. And so they'd been in Calcutta. After Didi had left me in Agra, she continued on tour. She didn't come back to Abu. Baba kept sending her to the next destination. So from Calcutta, they'd gone to Allahabad for the Kumbh Mela. And everywhere they phoned, she's just left. So she finally got the message on the Monday. And so from Monday, leaving Allahabad is far. And so they came to Bombay. They caught the early morning flight from Bombay to Ahmedabad. Again, another journey, in those days, 4.5 hours up the mountain. Literally, they arrived moments before the timetable was to put the body on the carriage. And it was perfect timing, in a sense. They both gave drishti. And then there was a whole procession from Pandav Bhavan through the town and then back again. It was about an hour's procession. And then we came back to Pandav Bhavan, and the instruction had been, again from Shiv Baba via Dadi Gulzar, that Dadi Kumarka should light the pyre. Now, Brahma Baba's Lokik son, Narayan, had come from Bombay. Brahma Baba's Alokik heir, Jagdish Bhai, was there. But the instruction from Shiv Baba was the pyre should be lit by a woman, Dadi Prakashmani, a Kumari. And normally you'd say it would be a shocking thing for people, but within the Brahmin family, it felt very natural that this is how it should be. And so she lit the first flame, and then we were all given sandalwood sticks dipped in ghee to be able to light the fire. And we were all standing around where there's now the wall of the Tower of Peace. And Dadi Prakashmani, and then there were very few Kumaris, so we were quite close to her. And again, there was just total silence. You could hear the crackling of the fire, but nothing else. And then one sister became quite emotional, and Dadi beckoned her across to her and just gave her a big hug and held her. And she also calmed down, but there were no other tears at all. And then once the fire got going, we all went off to shower, and they cleaned out Pandav Bhavan and the history hall, and the first food was cooked. And we all knew that bhog was going to be offered. We didn't know who, but then we saw that 700 people had gathered. So the history hall was packed. And by the sides, it was people standing by the windows and the doors. At the back, again, it was full, the veranda, 700 people. And because it was winter, it was manageable. And Bhog was here, Dadi Gulzar was here, and in the front row were the Dadis. And just behind the Dadis, there were the few Kumaris who were there, including myself and Jyoti. And the eyes opened, and I asked myself, is it Baba? And then as the drishti continued, it must have been a good half hour of drishti. As the drishti continued, it was very clear, wasn't Dadi Gulzar, it was Baba. And Baba acknowledged every single one within that gathering of 700. And then Baba began to speak, and we weren't expecting that. And it was the whisper. You're hearing the whisper for the first time. And Chandras Dada quickly tries to make an amplifier from the tape recorder. The tape recorder was just a normal little one. And so even with amplification, only about half the hall could hear. But there was pin drop silence. And Baba spoke for 3 hours. And Baba said, today Shiv Baba has come to meet you all, not Brahma Baba. If I had brought Brahma, child Brahma, with me, you wouldn't have let him go. And so I didn't bring him, but he will come to meet you. You will be meeting Baba, be entertained by Baba. But the first sentence was interesting because there'd been that silence of drishti. And Baba said, you're the children of the ocean of peace, but you've been in an ocean of upheaval. And everybody just laughed because it was true. And the tension broke. And then Baba just gave us, every question was answered in everybody's hearts and minds. And the program for the next 50, 60 years was laid out altogether. So I've given you the sort of outline, but it was very, very moving. It was very powerful.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, it really touches the heart. And so, gentlemen, there was a flower who asked the gardener, how can I live forever? And the gardener replied, plant your fragrance in the hearts of others. And that's exactly what Brahma Baba has done. Because when you mentioned flowers around him and the flower face, I remembered this. So yeah, thank you so much. And that's the end of revision for this time. Sister Jayanti will be traveling again shortly. So wishing everybody a very happy 18th, very lovely Avyak month. Maybe see some of you in Madhuban. Sister Jayanti will see you in Madhuban as well. Thank you, Sister Jayanti. Thank you, everyone. And apologies again for the technical hiccup. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you, Aruna Ben.